What is up, fellow sickos? I am Dan Valley coming at you with my certified fantabulous co-host, Mr. Grant Hughes, for a very special, it's a mini episode relative to how long our normal ones are, but we're going to draft NBA players to participate in other summer Olympic sports. And the rules, I haven't even informed Grant the sports we're going to use. I don't have a big board of stars, to be clear, but I do know the sports we're going to use. We can't use the same player twice. And so once he's off the board for a certain sport, we cannot use him again. And to game it here, as we alternate, it's going to be, well, like, we need to pick the sports that we know is going to make sense so we could take so-and-so off the board. Grant, one, how are you? But two, how are you feeling about this very topical exercise?
I'm going to combine my answers. I'm very excited, mainly because coming into an exercise cold means there should be no expectations, and I thrive in environments where I'm not expected to do well. So I'm excited, and I am bummed that I can't just choose Anthony Edwards, self-proclaimed greatest athlete on planet Earth, for all of these sports, but we'll just have to, get more creative.
And the other thing, as long as you agree, I'm not limiting this because this is a situation where we use we, and we talk about Team USA. Like, international players are absolutely allowed to be selected. We're talking about the NBA at large. So
we're forming an Olympic super team then. Like it's an
international
variety
of different events. Yeah.
Okay. International committee. So it's just, we're competing against the aliens in the Olympics, and we can choose anyone from Earth that plays in the NBA for our team.
We can't choose Wemby. That sucks.
It's really going to hurt us.
Are you ready for the reveal, Mr. Grant Hughes?
Yes, I'm excited.
Okay, Grant, since you had no idea what sports we were selecting going in, I will let you be the one to pick. And anyone who's watching, because I don't have a player pool set up, again, Grant and we haven't talked about this beforehand. It will take a little bit of time for me to put someone's face up on the screen. So just bear with that.
Okay. So I'm going to choose the one that really jumps out at me here is fencing, partly because that picture looks cool. And what are we going to do for fencing? Do we get to like put our heads together, or do I just have to pick somebody?
I think we could talk about it
I hate to use him now without really thinking about what he might be able to do in other sports, but why isn't this Wemby? Because of the reach.
Well, but also it's just like, it doesn't work the same way. Okay, he has that reach, but just think about how long it's going to take him to do the sword movements to like get.
Well, but it's like the cartoon where like the big kid's fighting the little kid, and he like puts his hand on the forehead of the other character, and he's like, he can't reach him. Like he's just spinning his legs. I'm not describing the cartoon very well. It's like a Tom and Jerry thing, maybe. I don't know. But like, if Wemby can reach you with his arm extended, unless you're also Wemby, he can't reach him. You can't reach him, right? Like, isn't it just, he can get you before he gets anywhere near being stabbed, right?
I'm dying at, unless you're also Wemby. I'll allow it because the sport that I thought that I think he would probably be best suited for, I thought volleyball at first, but I feel like it would be fairly easy to find someone else that makes sense for volleyball. So
we are burning Wemby early. But yeah, I think that's right about volleyball. We could pick. There's 50 guys that could be world-class volleyball players in the NBA. Maybe that's actually conservative.
So I'm going to pick. Which one should I go with here? I'm going to go with water polo, and I actually think this one is an easy pick. It has to be Nikola Jokic, right? Like he throws water polo passes already. And I will say, people that are looking at screens and so they know which sports are coming, or maybe looked at the timestamps that we are kind enough to include with every episode. Hey, subscribe. We care about you. He can't, like, he's into horses, but he shouldn't be the one riding the horses.
Well, I think I agree. I'm glad we found something for Jokic. The whole the dressage thing, I did have a conversation with my wife the other day in which she posited, like, anyone could be an Olympian in that event because the horse is doing everything. And I was like, it kind of makes a lot of sense. You just have, in theory, this horse, maybe you train it, which would put Jokic in the running for it. But like, you really are just kind of sitting on it, right? And like telling it what to do. If you could just learn the little subtle like rein commands and what to say to it, like the horse is the Olympian, not you, not the guy or the girl on the horse. So I think it's smart to use Jokic in water polo. And we don't need him. We don't need anybody with athletic talent. Sorry. I would love it, by the way, if any of our audience is like a dressage fanatic and is going to tell me how wrong I am, because I probably am. But We don't need him for any horse sports, even though he should be the guy for that. I love it. Ooh, I don't know. Do we stay in the pool? I don't know what the swimming thing is.
So yeah, and by the way, I did this generally. There's some specification on. So the running one is the 100-meter.
Okay.
So consider that. But that's it. Like swimming is just swimming. It's not, oh, it's the 800-millimeter freestyle or it's the team relay. It's general. So you need someone who's maybe versatile. There.
Yeah, I don't have a good one for swimming. Let's do the 100 meters. Just because there's a relatively short list of guys, that you think of as who's the fastest guy in the league end to end. Isn't this just Tyrese Maxey? Should that be our pick for the 100?
I was thinking De'Aaron Fox. You think it's Tyrese Maxey?
I think Maxey's faster. Maxey's quite a bit younger at this point. Fox maybe it was like for a minute there. It was like Fox, Westbrook. We're taking guys as they are now, right?
He's got that muscular burst to him. Like you see, some of these runners are just like absolutely chiseled, and I feel like De'Aaron Fox has more of that.
Who else is even in the conversation besides Maxey and Fox? Maybe Ja. I feel like Ja we could use for. Oh, I already know what I want to use Ja for.
I already knew what I want to use Ja for too.
Oh, really? I wonder if it's the same one.
I meant like, well, I was going to say like we can't use prime Russell Westbrook. Donovan Mitchell, we just did the fastest like 3/4 court times, and he was surprisingly quick. I didn't know he was that fast. I'm fine with Tyrese Maxey. I thought we were going to be in lockstep with De'Aaron Fox, so I get where you're coming from with Maxey. I probably would pick Fox, but if you think you want to put him somewhere else.
So the question is, can we use Maxey for anything else that we really need?
Do we need to? Well, if you think Tyrese Maxey is the better fit, you should just use him here. Because I'm like looking at this again. We've not given it thought. That was the whole point. I don't really have Tyrese Maxey as like an option anywhere else.
I would like to use Maxey, and I promise I will defer to you on another one if we have a disagreement. So Maxey's in the 100.
So he's in the 100. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like
he's so fast. What's not to feel good about?
I guess I just like, doesn't it feel like De'Aaron Fox has the longer stride? Like he just feels like more of the whole package when it comes to running. But
maybe Fox is like a 200 guy or a 400.
If we were building a team relay team, it'd be Fox, it'd be Maxey. We need 4 people.
I mean, oh man, who else is? I'm sure there's people shouting at us right now. Like, how are you forgetting how fast this guy is?
Do we include Ja in there? Donovan Mitchell?
Mitchell's pretty fast.
Oh, what about Scoot?
Scoot's fast. I mean, freaking LeBron, if we're just talking straight line speed, is he still in this conversation?
No.
We got to use LeBron for something else, though. All right. Your turn.
So I'm going to go. We didn't pick a 4th, but we have Scoot, Maxey, Fox, and whoever is fine. Man, what do I want to go with here? Do I want to go with power walking? No, you know what? I'm going to go with swimming, and I'm going to pick, and let's see if you agree, Anthony Edwards, because he was already talking shit about swimming, saying that he's probably the best swimmer in the league. He's like, these guys don't know how to swim. And so, like, who's my competition? He said something about maybe Drew Holiday is his competition for it. So I think he's been confident about everything, including what he could do in table tennis. But I think he was so confident with what he was doing with swimming. That feels, maybe he's a little bit too, like, I don't want to say muscular because swimmers are in fantastic shape. Like, is there an element of like too much of his compacted muscles like together rather than like he's long? So maybe he would need to train differently. But I think he's the one for me with swimming.
I'm with it. My only concern is we're burning like someone that could probably work in almost any other sport.
But aren't the other sports a little bit easier to like don't require as much athleticism? I mean, gymnastics.
That's the thing. I was just gonna say. So we'll use Edwards in swimming, mostly because he's got the confidence. Like confidence goes a long way. So maybe that's the way to do it. Let's go to gymnastics though then. And so we're going to need someone you got to be small. You got to be compact and you have to be like a nuclear athlete. Is this where you're going to put Ja?
Yeah, this was the one that I was like, this feels like Ja Morant's event. I don't know if he's muscular enough. I mean, you look at these gymnasts, you look at Simone Biles, like it does feel like you need more of just the raw explosion, but like strength explosion, whereas Ja's but you just look at his explosion in general.
Right.
And this feels you maybe would like if he was a little bit, because it feels like he would be more susceptible to injury because of his lankiness or like slender frame. But I mean, like he might hit the ceiling when he's like going up.
Yeah, I love the idea of a jaw floor exercise. I'm concerned about some of the more strength-based events, like how's he on the rings? You know, how's he on the uneven bars? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the balance beam.
Balance beam. I think he'd be pretty good on the balance beam.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, well, okay. I was going to use, I think that's the right call for gymnastics. I was going to use him for team handball just because the picture is someone like soaring through the air and like making up his mind later, which I can imagine Ja doing, but we can get a lot of NBA guys for team handball.
Now that you described it, I think one in particular makes sense. Let's go to, I know nothing about shot put, but I do know that a lot of these guys look like an out of shape Zion Williamson. And so imagine what actual Zion Williamson could do. I think he's the pick for shot put. Is that like, would you agree or no?
So I was just going to say Steven Adams because it involves strength. I think Zion, just to put it out there, what do we think of Zion in rugby? Like, I
thought Steven Adams for rugby.
Okay, well that makes more sense because he's from New Zealand and they really like their rugby. Okay, that works. So let's go. Yeah, perfect. So 2 for 1.
Would you have put like? Did you even consider Zion before you went to Steven Adams for this though? When you were looking at it,
when you said Zion, I was like, oh yeah, right, of course. But I had Steven Adams at first in my head just looking at the picture. So okay, Zion for shot put, and I think we do go Steven Adams for rugby. Just because imagine the things he would do out of sight of the referees at the bottom of that scrum. Like he would be pulling fingernails out and all kinds of crazy stuff.
I don't know how much you know about this like 7x7 rugby where it's the shorter pitch or whatever it's called. Would he be as good suited for that? And also is he too tall for it?
Probably. I mean, probably. Yeah, they're all going to be, almost everybody's going to be too tall. Also, like there is a fair amount of running, but I do like Steven Adams' odds of just not being tackled by anybody.
He just feels like he has those very like deliberate strides now to where would he be, able to keep up with just the physicality of it? Like Jonas Valanciunas is too slow for this. He'd be another good one.
Yeah.
I guess Zion might have been a better fit for rugby there, but I like Steven Adams there.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's go to archery. And I feel like this is, since we don't have like darts or anything else that's just pure like repeatable motion skill, I think it has to be Steph for archery. We got to use him for something. I just like his odds of being accurate at anything.
The only other thing I would have considered him for was table tennis. But I feel like we should be able to find someone for that one, right? I don't know. Archery, I mean, like he's a dead-eye shooter, so why not? That probably scales to more equipment.
It's almost a boring pick because it's just like, yeah, of course. But I think that I feel good about that. There's another easy one on the board. I just realized.
Here's the thing, though: would he be the guy using all of the equipment and like the special scope classes, or is he the one just coming in? Looks like he just rolled out of bed. And winning. Obviously, I knew that was a different competition the meme we're referencing, but
I think he's the guy that does all the work away from the bright lights, and then is the guy that hits the bullseye, but he's already turned around to celebrate before the arrow gets there. Like he's that casual with it.
Let's go to equestrian.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The horse is doing all the work.
No, I think aren't jockeys, and I know they're not all jockeys, they're just typically on the smaller end, right?
Sure. Yeah, you want to be small. I think make it easier on the horse, who again is doing all the work. So we got to pick a little guy here. What
about Chris Paul? Or is he too controlling? He won't.
We're gonna just
reins enough to
let the horse
make decisions.
Chris Paul is in a speed walking commercial. Are we gonna pretend that's not a thing? Because we are gonna have to pick a speed walker.
Okay. So
let's go even smaller. Who's like who in the league is like 150 pounds? Who are we?
Trae Young?
That's it. It's Trae Young. And also there's no issue with like,
he's also someone who's not good at relinquishing control though.
I was going to go the other way. There's no issue with him pissing off a teammate because like the horse can't understand him. It's a horse. Like,
yeah, he'll piss off the horse. Horses have feelings.
You know what though? The horse is the horse is used to someone else getting all the credit for all of its work, which is how Trae Young's teammates who have to play defense feel. So maybe there's like it's like it relates a little bit there. Is there anybody smaller than Trae Young we could use? Oh, is Isaiah Thomas? What if Isaiah Thomas got on a roster? The horse would like him. Everybody likes him.
That'd be a good one, but I feel like that's a little disingenuous to use right now. Who are the smallest active NBA players right now?
I mean, Rob Dillingham's pretty light. He's
6'3" though. That's like a little bit bigger than. Let me look at this. So I'm going to sort this by players who are under. Let's say, do we have any? Who are the under 6 footers right now in the league?
Almost nobody's listed.
No, there's only Isaiah Thomas last year.
Yeah,
apparently. Man, all right. Let's look at shorter than 6'4" and see if anyone stands out.
I mean, you could use
Jalen Brunson.
Ooh, do we need him for anything else? That's another one. Being left-handed probably matters in team handball, I would imagine.
I think we could probably get away with him here, unless you think that Trae Young's just better. I'm open to that for sure.
I mean, he's not at basketball or riding horses than Jalen Brunson. I do think, just to keep with the bit of let's choose someone light, let's just go with Trae Young. Brunson's got to have 20 pounds on him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Is Chris Paul the speed walker?
I forgot about his commercial. I guess he kind of had. Is there like who is just feels like they would be a really good? I feel like Jimmy Butler might win this event.
I kind of like that too.
So maybe we go Jimmy. Like Chris Paul's getting up there in age. You know.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Jimmy's. I mean, he's liable to break down too.
Well, okay, go with me on this.
Okay.
Maybe Luka. Because he doesn't mind, like, he's kind of used to walking up the court when he's not happy about a call that wasn't made at the other end. And so is this just like right in his wheelhouse there?
I think that's a great take. And I don't see anything else I really want to use Luka for. So I think maybe just for the clicks, let's include Luka as he's
all right. So I'm moving off of, I literally had Jimmy and emo Jimmy's face, by the way, because I haven't changed they don't have new headshots yet. But I had emo Jimmy all lined up and ready to go there. So you're gonna have to vamp for a little bit.
All right, that's fine.
Luka for power walking too, like his body type, and I'm not even being like he'll like jockey people out of the way.
Right.
Just, like he can get through these crowds that we're seeing on the screen right now.
I imagine since you can only go so fast, a lot of it is about understanding base and angles and body position, and like who's better than Luka when it comes to that stuff. Because you're in a crowd the whole time. He wants contact. That's perfect. He's made for this.
I don't have like any immediate thoughts on what's left. It's your turn to pick, I think.
Boxing is James Johnson.
It's not. First of all,
who's boxing?
Draymond Green. He's got the length, and he's prone to. He will punch anybody.
I mean, James Johnson's a black belt in like 15 different disciplines. Are we taking this seriously or not? I don't know. If you look, if Draymond Green and James Johnson fought, unless Draymond can get him from behind and choke him out, I feel like James Johnson, which would be illegal by the Olympic standards. So Draymond could win if he didn't have to fight more than once. But I mean, it has to be James Johnson. I can't believe you're fighting me on this. It's too serious of a pick. Maybe that's the problem.
I think I was probably trying to go for someone, and this isn't a reflection of you. I just wasn't going to go with someone who had like a history of DV. But sure. I mean, but if we're everybody, and when they talk about like who's the scariest guy in the league, it's always James Johnson. Yeah, is there anyone that would be, again, looking at just this event, then is there anyone that would actually be like a viable alternative pick? Not like for the meme.
Who is like actually thrown a punch in the NBA in recent years?
Well, if you ask like players from other eras, nobody, because they're all just fake softies.
Right? Yeah, right. Nobody throws punches anymore.
I'm trying to think of like Russ might be good.
Yeah. Russ is tough. He would care. He would be able to take a lot of punishment and keep fighting. It feels
if I thought that OG Anunoby had like a violent streak to him, he would be an interesting pick. But I don't think. What about Randall? Just gonna start naming Knicks players until you say yeah.
Just looking for tough guys. That's where you start.
I think objectively speaking, just James Johnson's history is like just background as a. What is he, like 8 black belts or something?
No, it's like he's multiple martial arts he has black belts in. I don't know if any of them, I think one of them's kickboxing. So he already knows how to do like boxing plus more. So boxing should be easy.
Where do we want to go for Badminton.
All right.
This feels like
So
someone needs to be like have like a ridiculously high IQ.
I think maybe I was thinking like quick reflexes, smart, understands like hit it where they ain't, like that
Oh,
kind of thing.
you know what? Is this a Jalen Suggs event? Like, talk about who has the best hands in the NBA right now?
That's interesting because my first thought was Drew Holiday, but
Ooh.
kind of same idea. Suggs is kind of in that vein. We could go Derek White too if we're
Oh,
talking
you know
about.
what? I think Derek White is the pick.
I like it. I
I think
like
that's
it.
the one. The other one I thought of, but I don't know if he's like too long for it. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Real quick, gets a lot of steals. Yeah, like the guy who maybe we should just go to deflections per 36 if we're assuming you got to be real quick and just pick that. I mean, who was I just looking at? Oh, you know who led the league among guys who played like at least a little bit in deflections per 36 last year? It was Robert Covington. He's too old probably to be used here, but and also he's a free agent, so maybe he's ineligible.
He's
Yeah,
definitely eligible then.
I think Derek White is a solid one there.
That feels like the good middle ground. And it also satisfies the bigger name criteria, which I'm sure some people would think that Jalen Suggs doesn't qualify for.
Sure. Okay, but now maybe we just go now to table tennis because we're kind of looking at similar skill sets. Maybe like a little less mobility, but probably even more like quickness. I'm trying to think who's got like just the quickest hands. That might just be Holiday. We might just have to use Holiday.
Holiday, yeah. Do you think he has the mobility for it still, or should this be a Suggs event?
It's a short area. You're not moving a ton.
Well, we need to do we trust? Granted, hitting a ping pong ball is not akin to making jumpers, but like, do we want someone who's more of an assassin, like when it comes to precision?
I got somebody else. I think Duncan Robinson was a tennis player.
Okay.
And so I can't imagine there's a ton of NBA players with like high level tennis experience. So I might just go there.
What about Emmanuel Quickly?
Just because of the speed? Like, or because he played tennis?
I'm just saying, like, because of the speed. I don't know that he played tennis.
I want to verify that I didn't make up that Duncan Robinson played tennis.
Steph Curry is apparently. This is why I want to save him for table tennis. Grant, this would have been so easy.
Well, who are you going to use for archery instead? And and how much do you want to redo the graphic? Is the real question.
Oh no, I'm not going to redo it. It's too late now. We've moved past it. There's no going back. We've made our bet. We now have to lie in it. I'm trying to think of what about Clay? Feels like maybe he, has probably taken a bunch of edibles and played some table tennis in his day.
God, why can't I think I'm starting to get concerned I made up that Duncan Robinson played tennis.
Well, now we can't pick him because you're lying. But
I know I can't be trusted. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he said that on a podcast.
So who do you? Him as like that? That's your pick to represent, like in the NBA and the Olympics and table tennis.
I was just looking for anybody I apparently made up that I thought had played table tennis of any or racket sport of any kind. So who's your table tennis pick? Do you have one?
Like Emmanuel Quickly.
Let's see.
There's a lot of people who seem to think LeBron could be good at tennis, and this is like
LeBron. We've kind of made a mistake in not using LeBron for anything because it feels like he has to be included.
Well,
I'll give you Emmanuel. I'll give you
a good team handball guy, shorter court. He'll just dominate there.
Let's go. I'll give you quickly a table tennis, but you have to issue a formal apology if Duncan Robinson actually did play tennis and it turns out I'm right. But that's probably
first of all, I played tennis too. Tennis is not table tennis.
No, but you probably have like just a little bit of an advantage at table tennis against someone that hadn't played actual tennis, right?
I mean, I guess, no? But it's like, as someone who's like as tall as Duncan Robinson, is that at all disadvantage? Like, it could be an advantage at the net in tennis, and when it comes to your serve, is there any real advantage to it when you're playing table tennis? I might value the lateral quick. Do you see how far these people are away from the table?
That's true. You got to be able to move. I mean, we over-index on like who's really quick. So I guess by that logic, quickly makes sense there.
You were looking to put LeBron somewhere. I think of the events that are left, team handball might be it.
I think we're going to have to do that. Yeah. I like it. You got to have, I watched a little bit of this actually the other day. I don't this Dan, do you realize how perfect this is? I don't there's some equivalent. It's not the same rule, but there is kind of like a traveling thing in team handball where you get a certain number of steps without dribbling
Right.
the ball. And LeBron has always been among the greatest at like, how do you get that extra step on that layup? And why wasn't that actually 3? So that's a factor. The vision's a factor, the speed, the strength. He can throw over the top. That's a good one. I think certainly given what else we have, LeBron has to be the team handball guy.
You were and look, you're from the West Coast, so I just assume you've played volleyball all the time. You said it was going to be easy to find someone that would be great at
Yeah.
volleyball. Who's the NBA player we're sending to the Olympics for volleyball?
I mean, it's a huge bummer that Chase Boettinger hasn't played in the NBA recently because he is in fact an Olympic level volleyball player.
Which he
Big
probably
loss
would
for us.
not be if he still played in the NBA though. So
That's true. Man, okay, so
is Kevin Love too old? I know he played volleyball.
He's way too old. I think so. What we need is someone who can just be an incredible like middle blocker. So think like a center that can get off the floor. Like obviously Wemby, yeah, would have been great here. Or somebody who's like a super explosive, athletic outside hitter. Those are the guys that you don't have to be that tall, but they just jump out of the gym. Or we could have a setter who has like great court vision, who all they do is facilitate. Have to be like tricky and sneaky because you like fake out the other team who you're setting. So we have a lot of. We don't necessarily have to pick like a
Zion would have
big.
been good here.
Who?
Zion would have been good here. What about Giannis?
Giannis could kind of do. Well, let's see. I'm kind of hung up on what if we just found like who's the sneakiest like facilitator in the league. Like, could it
What do you
be
mean by sneaky? Underrated or
no? Like, just is like tricky with his passing. Like, does a lot of like look one way, throw the like a Halliburton type maybe. This isn't someone that's gonna hit ever, like or almost ever. They're just gonna like fake you out and like set somebody else open after they've manipulated the defense to go the wrong way. Type.
What
of
about
thing.
LaMelo?
LaMelo would be interesting. Man, we got a lot of ways to go with volleyball.
I'm almost wondering which one. So which archetype do you prefer? Were you kind of outlining the more explosive, athletic, like middle person or at the net person?
If we just went like, let's say we go outside hitter, someone that just who do you imagine taking off with 2 feet and throwing down like a ridiculous, like one-handed, like windmill or tomahawk? Like who comes to mind when you think of that besides Anthony Edwards, who we already used?
And we use John Morant.
We use John Morant.
What about J-Dub?
Oh, no, he doesn't get up like that. Like
he's got some vicious finishes.
Jalen Green. He's more of a 1-foot guy. Who else was in the dunk contest that is actually like a decent nobody with a big name? I mean, we could just throw Rudy Gobert in as a middle blocker. Like you're just not going to hit over that guy.
Would that be your pick if that's the actual, like if you're going the middle blocking route? What about Bam?
Bam would be good, but you know what? And Bam could do kind of all of it. He could be your middle blocker. He's a good passer, so maybe he could set if you needed him to. I kind of love Bam. Great call. I think it needs to be Bam, and he could hit too.
We stumbled into our pick. Look at where's that Paul Rudd meme? Look at us.
Look at us.
This next one is going to be our last one, I believe, right?
Yeah, pole vault. So the men's record was set in pole vault, and so I'm trying to like the frame of the pole vaulter seems to be like you don't have to be. You're probably like you can be fairly tall, but you don't want to be like 6'7" or 6'5" probably. You got to kind of look like a 400-meter runner, but a little bigger, I would say. So like maybe this is Fox because you got to get some speed up, running towards the apparatus. He's like wiry, strong. I kind of love, and we did kind of lose him, or I talked you out of him for the 100. So maybe it's De'Aaron Fox for the pole vault. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good one. I don't know if there's like any, like maybe Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, could be him. Mitchell's a little stockier than a lot of these guys. Where I think you want the wiry, like.
Yeah, that's why Bane came to mind, but then I was like, oh, he's a little too stocky.
A little too yeah, I don't think you want. Yeah, you gotta be light enough to really fling yourself with the off the pole. So I think Fox is kind of perfect for that.
for the pole vaulting.
Yeah.
So
you heard it here first. De'Aaron Fox, Olympic caliber pole vaulter.
And we had him as a potentially Olympic caliber. What do we say? What was
100 meters?
Yeah, 100 meters. I was about to say it wasn't gymnast because I was so dead set on Ja. Do you like Ja better for the pole vault? Like, should De'Aaron Fox have been our gymnast?
I mean, we got to get Ja in the air one way or the other, and I think we got it right. I think Ja as a gymnast, and then Fox as the pole vaulter.
Okay, so to recap, drafting NBA players for other Olympic sports: Nikola Jokic for water polo, Zion Williams for the shot put, Emmanuel Quickly for table tennis, Anthony Edwards for swimming, John Morant for gymnastics, Derek White for what was that?
Badminton.
Badminton, excuse me. Bam Adebayo for volleyball, James Johnson for boxing, De'Aaron Fox for pole vaulting, Tyrese Maxey for the 100 meter, Luka Doncic for power walking,
Perfect.
LeBron for team handball, Victor Wembanyama, which I still can't. This is for fencing. This is where you started. Trae Young for equestrian, Steven Adams for rugby, Steph Curry for archery. We did it. You want to take us out of here?
I want to hear everybody else's nominations.
Comment.
I'm sure we missed some.
Yeah. Well, I just included the 16 and I was like, yeah, let's throw these in there.
Yeah. No, tell us where we were dead right and dead wrong, please. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks in advance for your comments, all of which will be positive, I think. Rate, review, subscribe. Do you want the real close on a little short like this? I think I'm going to do it anyway. Shouts Frank Ntilikina, Olympian Frank Ntilikina. Apologies, Jared Allen.